Hi, and welcome to the final part of our film language lessons. We're going to be thinking about editing and sounds today, so let's get started with editing. So, the art of editing is how you arrange a film once it has been filmed. Usually, a film is never filmed in order, so different scenes might have been months apart from filming, and an editor and director have to piece these together to tell as clear a story as they can, so that the narrative makes sense for the audience. When we talk about editing, we can also think about the length of each shot. And what I mean by the length is how much time on screen we are seeing it for. So you can actually time it. So when the scene or shot starts to when the first edit happens. In Europe, we think about the term montage simply as editing, but most commonly, a montage refers to a specific type of editing. But we're going to look at that in just a second. Here, I've got a diagram to illustrate shot matching. Now, if you want a conversation between two people, say the person in blue and the person in orange, you're going to need two cameras set up so that you can have over the shoulder shots or side shots from different angles to look at from when each character is speaking. So, for instance, the camera that's red might be used to film when the character who is blue is speaking, and then the green camera is used for when the character who is wearing orange is speaking. So that when you then piece the film together, you can flip between the two camera shots that you've got to show the conversation happening. So that each time one character is speaking, so for instance, the character in blue, then we will see it from the camera's perspective that has shown that that person's speaking. That's then edited together to give us the conversation. Or we can have the montage shot. So in this sequence from Scott Pilgrim, we are showing a passage of time shortened down. And that's usually how we see a montage in Hollywood films these days. Quite often it'll be somebody training, and instead of showing the days, weeks, or months that they've been training for, we'll just get a series of snippets of shots showing their progress and improvements over time. And so here in the film, because it's a comedy, they're also playing around with this idea.
Finish him.
So we know usually from a montage we're going to get lots of quick edits, really snappy, loud, and so the humour there brought in by Scott Pilgrim taking a while to tie his shoelaces carefully. And lastly, final key aspect is sound. In this clip, we're going to be thinking about diegetic sound. Now, a diegetic sound is a sound that happens from within the story space. And what I mean by that is a character would hear it. So if there was a conversation between two characters, both the characters would hear it. If there was a radio playing in the background, again, both of them would hear it. Or if an explosion occurred, the people within that would hear it. Now, the audience can also hear it, but as we'll see later on, sometimes characters don't. So in this clip from the film Chronicle, we've got external diegetic sounds. We've got the two characters speaking and one of them singing badly along with the radio.
Everyone knows money can buy us happiness.
Wow.
We should all slow down and enjoy right now.
God, make it stop.
Yeah, ba-bling, ba-bling, wanna make the world dance. Forget about the crowd.
So within that story, we could hear the diegetic sound of the radio and the two characters speaking. What is surprising, though, is we don't hear the sound of the car. That's because these sounds have been added in afterwards, so that our focus then is on the two characters and the interactions show that they are having a good time. We can also have internal diegetic, and that's what a character may hear inside their head. We don't see that often within film, but it can occur. And then there is non-diegetic sounds. These are sounds just for the audience to hear. So the characters in the sequence wouldn't hear them, but they are just for the audience. So examples of non-diegetic sounds include soundtrack or special effects to create comedy within a sequence. If a film has had music specifically created for it, we call that the film score. That's so that the music that we're hearing exactly matches what the director has created on screen. Or the director can use music that already exists and get permission to use it in their film. They then have to build the sequence around that piece of music to make sure it fits perfectly. In this sequence that we're about to watch from the film Drive, the director Nicholas Winding Refn has used music that already exists to show something happening between two characters. What I'd like you to do is watch the clip and have a think. What is occurring between the two adult characters?
I do want to see something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Back against the wall at odds with the strength of a million cause. The suits are called outstanding. Your emotionally complex. Against the grain of dystopic claims. All the thoughts, your actions entertained, and you have proved to be a real human being and a real hero. Real human being and a real hero. Real human being. A pilot on a Kokomo, 155 people on board, all safe and all rescued from a slowly sinking ship. What a warmer than said so cool. That day I knew what to do, and you have proved to be a real human being. Real human being.
So there in that sequence, the two adult characters, played by Ryan Gosling and Carey Mulligan, are at this point in the film not together. She is a single mother, and he is playing her next door neighbour who has given her a lift home. There is very little dialogue in the sequence, but the music there and the montage shows the two falling in love. So the lyrics of A Real Human Being and A Real Hero is her feelings towards him and his feelings towards her. We can also have the other non-diegetic sound of a narrator, and here it's used in How to Train Your Dragon to open the film, and so in order for the audience to understand what is happening, give us a bit of backstory and information, they use a narrator to do so. What's really neat is it then cuts to a diegetic sound at the end of the clip.
This is Burke. It's 12 days north of hopeless and a few degrees south of freezing to death. It's located solidly on the meridian of misery. My village. In a word, sturdy. And it's been here for 7 generations, but every single building is new. We have fishing, hunting, and a charming view of the sunsets. The only problems are the pests. You see, most places have mice or mosquitoes. We have dragons.
Now, to illustrate how important sound is within a film, you're going to watch the same clip. Don't worry, when you watch it first time round, there's nothing wrong with your speakers or headphones. What I'd like you to do is I would like you to think, which clip is more interesting? So what you are seeing there is the most expensive shot produced up until 1981. So that's from Star Wars Empire Strikes Back. New technology had to be developed by ILM in order to create the shot. We are seeing hundreds of extras, full-scale model spaceships, and also paintings called matte paintings used to create the inside of the Death Star. Yet without sound, it lacks something. So watch the clip again, this time with sound. So there we have the mixture of diegetic and non-diegetic sounds to create possibly one of the most famous entrances in film, the Emperor with the Imperial March playing in the background. Now the characters themselves would hear the spaceships, the sound of Vader breathing, and also the spaceship door lowering. But for the audience, to give us a sense of how evil and powerful the Emperor is, we had John Williams' symphonic score there, really demonstrating how powerful he is. And finally, our last type of sound that we're going to look at is expressivist music. So we talked about this earlier when we were thinking about how we can reflect feelings and express the feelings of a character to see and hear what is happening on screen and how they are feeling. This time we're going to look at what's called the Stinger Chord. Now, in this section of A New Hope, Luke Skywalker is returning to his aunt and uncle's farm to find the fact that they've been killed. It always gets me that this film is just a universal, because what you're about to see is Luke discovering the burnt-out skeletons of his aunt and uncle. Have a think. How does the music reflect that? And also, how does John Williams clearly let the audience hear the point at which Luke spots the skeletons? So the stinger there is typically played by the entire ensemble on the last beat or measure of a piece of music or composition. Here in the film, it occurs when Luke spots the burnt out skeletons of his aunt and uncle. The music there, using violins and a horn section, allow the audience to hear the pain that Luke is feeling. And that is the key idea of expressivist music. It's there to allow the audience to hear the feelings of the characters. So thank you for listening to those lessons. Now it's time to start work. So have a look at your classwork to see what's up next.